Fitch just stripped the United States of its AAA credit rating. In today's video, I'll discuss what this means for your retirement plan. All right, let's begin by discussing why Fitch took the bold move of downgrading the United States credit rating. For starters, due to climbing interest rates, the U.S. is now on track to pay $1 trillion on debt service this year for the first time in history. Soon, the cost of servicing our national debt will consume 20% of the federal budget. And what do we get in exchange for this $1 trillion? Absolutely nothing. It's merely the cost of renting the money we've already spent. We have set ourselves on an unsustainable course that simply doesn't add up. Second, in the month of June alone, the federal government spent $70 billion on interest expense alone. At this rate, the cost of servicing the debt will eventually overcome the entire defense budget. Third, higher interest rates have compounded the cost of servicing the national debt. Over the last 20 years, we've been able to sustain high levels of debt because of historically low interest rates. As interest rates have returned to historically normal levels, the cost of servicing the national debt has exploded. Fourth, over the next 10 years, the cost of servicing the national debt will hit $10.6 trillion. Over 30 years, that total hits $71 trillion. Once again, we get nothing in exchange for this money. No Social Security benefits, no Medicare, no Medicaid, no national defense. Again, it's simply the cost of renting the money we've already spent. Fifth, over the next 10 years, the national debt will increase by $2 trillion per year on average and hit $50 trillion by 2033. In the 10 years after that, the national debt will increase to $3 trillion per year and go up from there. Simply put, our reckless spending has put us on a course that leads to financial ruin. Now, some people will say that the move by Fitch to downgrade the U.S. credit is much ado about nothing. In fact, Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen strongly disagrees with Fitch's decision, calling it arbitrary and outdated. Others insist that so long as the U.S. dollar is the reserve currency, it can print its way out of its problems. So there's no real crisis in sight. Here's why that rationale simply doesn't add up. The main drivers of the debt over the next 20 years and beyond are the unfunded obligations for Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. All three of these programs are indexed to inflation by law. So as you print money in an attempt to shore up these programs, you increase inflation, which in turn increases the cost of all three of these programs commensurately. So printing money will simply lead you into an inflationary death spiral from which the nation could never hope to recover. All right, now that I've laid out the reasons why Fitch saw fit to downgrade the U.S. and why it's a hopelessly intractable situation, let's discuss the implications for you and your retirement plan. When the U.S. debt rating gets downgraded, and this won't be the last time it happens, I can assure you, then other countries are less likely to loan us money based on current interest rates. Why? Because they have slightly less confidence we'll be able to pay that money back. That means they'll charge us increasingly higher interest rates in exchange for these loans, which we'll be taking with increasingly higher frequency. This, in turn, puts an increasingly greater strain on the federal budget. That means the cost of servicing our burgeoning national debt will go even higher. All of this increases the likelihood that taxes, even 10 years from now, will have to rise dramatically in order to afford those higher debt service payments. So if you find yourself in a position where you have the lion's share of your retirement savings in tax-deferred retirement vehicles like 401ks and IRAs, you should see Fitch's move as a stark warning. You should see it as clear evidence that the federal government will need huge infusions of cash just to pay all their bills. And every year that goes by where they don't dramatically reform entitlement programs means that potential for higher taxes even 10 years from now is all the more real. So what steps should you be taking in the face of all these warnings? Not a year should go by where you don't take advantage of historically low tax rates to get your tax-deferred assets like 401ks and IRAs repositioned to tax-free. Make it your goal to get your Roth conversion plan executed before 2030, when tax rates are likely to go up for good. Just keep in mind, once tax rates go up, they won't ever be coming back down. Here's the key. You want to shift your money to tax-free slowly enough that you don't rise into a tax bracket that gives you heartburn, but quickly enough that you get all the heavy lifting done before tax rates go up for good. And once again, get all that shifting done on or before 2030. If you count 2023, that gives you an 8-year window within which to protect your hard-earned retirement savings from the threat of higher taxes. In short, Fitch's most recent downgrading of the United States credit is almost certainly the first of many downgradings to come. Take advantage of historically low tax rates while we still have them to protect your retirement assets from the financial storm that is looming on our nation's horizon. Make it your goal to get to the 0% tax bracket in retirement. Why is the 0% tax bracket so important? Because if tax rates double, 2 times 0 is still 0. Folks, in the next 10 years, I'm looking to put 100,000 Americans on the road to the 0% tax bracket. If you'd like some help getting on the road to a tax-free retirement, be sure to check out my tax-free toolkit. You can download it for free at taxfreetoolkit.com. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power of Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free 3-part video series. By the way, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comments section below. I respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.